Now that we have all the effects on the sound, we're going to bounce it down to audio. But before we do that, one interesting thing that I experimented with and ended up liking when I was making this little demo track, and I suggest people who are doing this sort of pseudo sampling method try out as well, is to take their melodies and put them in different tempos, and then either pitch them up or pitch them down for a very authentic sampled sound. Back in the 90s, a lot of samplers didn't have time stretching features, and on the ones that did, the time stretching usually sounded pretty artificial, and because they didn't want their samples sounding weird, they would have to pitch up or pitch down the samples that they had from their records. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase the tempo of our track to 120. The melody actually sounds a little bit funny like that. It's a bit too fast in my opinion, but we're going to make up for that when we bounce down the track. So let's right click on our MIDI track, select freeze track, and this will take a little bit longer than usual because of the effects we have applied to the sound. And now we're going to right click on the track again and click on flatten. And we're going to get rid of this tail because it's not necessary. We don't need that at all. Now we've got our original composition, our virtual piano, bounced down to audio form. So now we can actually play with it as if it was a sample. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to our warp mode and change it from beats to repitch. So we'll be pitching samples up or down like producers in the 90s were mainly doing. Now let's take our tempo and we'll bring that back down to our original value of 96 BPM. And I actually really like the pitch it's at now. The melody being pitched down sounds a bit more dark and a little emotional in my opinion, so it actually worked out for the better. Now we're going to throw on two more effects. These aren't going to be major in shaping the sound, but I thought they added to the lo-fi feel a little bit. First, we're going to throw on Redux, which is Ableton's bit crushing plugin. We're going to turn on bit reduction, and I'm going to set that at 12. Now you might not notice a huge difference when I play this sound with and without the bit reduction. It makes the sound a little bit more crunchy, but it's very hard to notice. But the main reason why I'm doing this is because a lot of early samplers that producers in the 80s and 90s were using had limited bit depths to them. So that meant a lot of the samples sounded a little bit crunchy. Now I'm also going to go to downsample, and we'll set that to be soft, so we'll have much more control as to how the bit crushing sounds. And we're going to increase this just a very small amount because we don't want any hardcore NES game sounds here. We want something that's just a little bit more lo-fi. I think we'll go for about 1.02 or 1.03. And you can hear that's making just a very small difference. You can hear the sort of crunchiness from the Redux coming in when it's playing different notes. Here's without, and here's with. Just a very small difference that I like. And now I'm going to throw on an instance of EQ8. Let's take an EQ band, just any band, it doesn't matter. And we'll throw on a low cut ×4. And I'm going to remove a lot of those unnecessary low-end frequencies that are muddying up our piano sample. And this could actually also enhance that 90s feel, because a lot of tracks that producers were sampling would have a higher instrument like a piano playing over top a bass or some other low element. And they would have to high pass these samples very heavily so you wouldn't hear the bass line as well.